Hello, I want to show you a pretty interesting gun in Destiny 2 today, the 7th Seraph SI-2. As a disclaimer, this is not meta for 3 reasons. First off, it doesn't have an origin perk, second, its perks can't be enhanced, and third, it's a sidearm and not a rocket sidearm. But what does it have going for it? First off, it has a wonderful model. This just looks so clean. Also in-game, this is just wonderful. Second, its stats. I mean, if you look right here, its stats aren't that great. But if we look at handling, it's pretty good. Like, it comes out pretty fast, you can aim pretty good, and stability is fine as well if you can recoil control. I'll show you real quick the stability without controlling the recoil. Yes, it is quite bad, but if you just pull down your mouse or controller, it's pretty good. And as all sidearms, it doesn't have that much range, but that is fine. As a primary, it obviously has several mods to choose from. I, for example, chose Backup Mag. It doesn't do much, it adds free magazine, but you could also use something else. They'll probably add more mods in the future, because those that we have right now are pretty bad. Before we go over to the perks it can roll, where can you get it? Well, you can get it from Banshee or Xur. Banshee sold one a few days ago. This is the one I got. If you don't want to rely on RNG that much and you want something to farm, then the SMG from Duality can also roll with Demolitionist and Dragonfly. This is the only other Void gun that can roll with this perk combo. It can roll some other perks, but most of them aren't really useful for PvE. For PvP, you could use things like Threat Detector and Zen Moment, but I'm sure there are better PvP options. For barrels and mags it doesn't really matter, and Masterworks, usually for sidearms you want to go with stability. Range does not really change a lot of things, like you're just getting maximum of a meter and you're not gonna notice that in PvE. As you can see, these are all the guns that can have this perk combination, and these two are the only ones that can get it on Void. Now that we have the perks out of the way, where to get it and what it is all about, why am I using this? Why am I using this over this? I mean, I'm using this sometimes as well. This is really good, but the difference is Destabilizing Rounds and Repulsor Brace. This season, you do not really need Repulsor Brace due to the artifact. If you eliminate weakened targets, you get a small Void Overshield, which is basically Repulsor Brace. And everything I'm talking about this sidearm is tying in very well with my build right here, which is with the Felwinters Helm. Basically, you weaken everything around you if you use a melee or a finisher. So, every time I kill one of those weakened enemies with this gun, I get an overshield, which means this basically also has Repulsor Brace. Then what about the other thing? What about Destabilizing Rounds? I personally like Destabilizing Rounds, but it is a little bit overhyped. It is way worse than, for example, Incandescent, because it has a cooldown. Incandescent doesn't have a cooldown, and you have many other sources of making enemies volatile other than a weapon perk, meaning it's kinda, you don't really need it. For example, this is very specific for my build here. I use Echo of Instability, which after I get a grenade kill, I get volatile rounds to my white weapons, meaning I don't only have Repulsor Brace, I also have Destabilizing Rounds on this one. And to add it, I have another source of volatile, meaning I can make the enemies, this is a different thing, I can make the enemies volatile after I finish her next to them. This makes the only 2 specific Void perks kind of redundant, so I don't need the Repulsor Brace, I don't need Destabilizing Rounds, so I'm just free to use any of other perks. What works well with Destabilizing Rounds? Well, if you just want to use a damage perk, go for it, like Frenzy or Golden Tricorn, that's fine. But those are kind of boring, aren't they? I want a bigger explosion. I want my volatile explosion and another explosion. This is the reason I'm choosing Dragonfly. Dragonfly makes it so precision kill, straight and elemental damage explosion. Basically, if you get a precision kill, everything around dies because they're volatile and you have this. Then for the other perk. Demolitionist. Kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. This grants 10% grenade energy on kill. And I believe it works together with Dragonfly. So if Dragonfly gets kills, it also counts towards Demolitionist. So this is a pretty good combo in and of itself. So why am I choosing Demolitionist? First off, I'm a Warlock. Warlocks always need grenades, but look at this, what I have right here. Echo of Instability. Defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your weapons. So basically this is a great loop. I'm enhancing my gun with volatile rounds and I'm getting the back with Demolitionist. So this is a really good loop. And this season it's Unstoppable Sidearm, and if you choose to use, for example, Whisper of the Worm in your heavy slot, or you use, for example, like Succession or something in your primary slot, you can also stun barrier champions. And if you want to stun all 3 champions, you could either use, for example, a Chill Clip Heavy, there is the Grenade Launcher Typhon or the Bump in the Night, or you have a free slot, so you can use Two-Tailed Fox, because this also stuns Overload champions, so now you can stun all 3 champions. You could obviously just use a Disorienting Grenade Launcher with Chill Clip. This one is also from Duality. This is really good with this build. Disorienting Nade Launchers with a finisher build is perfect because you can just close the gap so easily in GMs. And then you use Whisper of the Worm in this slot, and then you can stun all 3 champions. I'll talk more about this build in a future video, but I've basically explained a lot of it already. I hope you can get this sidearm at some point, or at least the SMG from Duality due to it having the same perks. Give it a shot. If you want to see what the build is about that I'm using, then just comment and I'll make sure to make another video on it, because I mean, I've been using this for a while. It's pretty useful for everything. So if you don't want to miss that, then just subscribe, and if you like the video, then like the video. Alright, goodbye, have a good day. This was a fun video to make.